Hi guys, hope you're having a great day. This is a video for CKLA Unit 6, Lesson 9. Almost done. This lesson starts on page 122 with a new vignette, but the vocab for it is on page 131. So let's head there first. 131. It's vocabulary for the vignette titled Gill's Furniture Bought and Sold. There's only 3 words this time. Short vocab. The vignette is a little bit longer, but I think this whole lesson is going to be a fairly short one. Okay, so vocabulary words, ones you might already know. The first word is ballerina, and that's a noun. And a ballerina is a kind of professional dancer, and that's a female dancer. So they do ballet, like with the tutus and, professional dancers. Misty Copeland is a professional ballerina. I have a biography on her in the classroom. Maybe some of you have seen it. But you're probably familiar with what ballet is. So ballerinas dance ballet. Okay, brass is a noun. It's a shiny metal that is quite expensive and heavy. Brass. So usually, I think a lot of musical instruments are made of brass. Next one is marimbas, and that's a noun. It's a musical instrument, and it's similar to a xylophone. You guys might know what that one is. That's the one, it looks like little bars, and you hit them with little mallets to make sound. You hit it in different places to get different musical notes. So it's similar to a xylophone. Maybe you know marimbas or xylophones from music class with Mrs. King. Maybe not though, but you can look up what that sounds like if you would like to, but I'm assuming we'll just hear about it in the story. Okay, so back to the vignette. It starts on page 122. That's the title page. It's vignette number 6. It is Gill's Furniture Bought and Sold. Okay, and that is the name of a store. Okay, so the store is called Gill's Furniture Bought and Sold. All right, so remember, lots of options. You can pause it and read it yourself in your head, or you can read it out loud, or you can just track along with me as I read it, track in your book as you hear me read it, because I want you reading the words as you hear me reading it. Trying to make sure it's centered and straight for you. All right, here we go. There is a junk store. An old man owns it. We bought a used refrigerator from him once, and Carlos sold a box of magazines for $1. The store is small with just a dirty window for light. He doesn't turn the lights on unless you got money to buy things with. So in the dark, we look and see all kinds of things, me and Nenny. Tables with their feet upside down, and rows of refrigerators with round corners, and couches that spin dust in the air when you punch them, and 100 TVs that don't work probably. Everything is on top of everything, so the whole store has skinny aisles to walk through. You can get lost easy. Okay, so she's describing the store and the type of things for sale in the store. Kind of sounds a little bit scary, like just narrow little aisles because everything is piled up and it's dark in there and dusty and dirty, it sounds like. Okay, second paragraph. The owner, he is a black man who doesn't talk much, and sometimes if you didn't know better, you could be in there a long time before your eyes notice a pair of gold glasses floating in the dark. Nenny, who thinks she is smart and talks to any old man, asks lots of questions. Me, I never said nothing to him except once when I bought the Statue of Liberty for $0.10. Okay, so the guy that owns the store, it sounds like, he doesn't talk much. Sounds like Esperanza is kind of scared of him, but Nenny's braver and talks to anybody because she thinks she's smart. But Esperanza has only talked to him once when she bought the Statue of Liberty for $0.10. So obviously not the real Statue of Liberty. Maybe it's like a little figure of it or a picture of it. Okay, third paragraph. But Nenny, I hear her asking one time, "How's this here?" And the man says, "This? "This is a music box." And I turn around quick, thinking he means a pretty box with flowers painted on it, with a ballerina inside. Only there's nothing like that where this old man is pointing. Just a wooden box that's old and got big brass record in it with holes. Then he starts it up and all sorts of things start happening. It's like all of a sudden he let go a million moths all over the dusty furniture and swan neck shadows and in our bones. It's like drops of water, or like marimbas, only with a funny little plucked sound to it, like if you were running your fingers across the teeth of a metal comb. And then, I don't know why, but I have to turn around and pretend I don't care about the box, so Nenny won't see how stupid I am. But Nenny, who is stupider, already is asking how much, and I can see her fingers going in for the quarters in her pants pocket. "This," the old man says, shutting the lid, "this ain't for sale." Okay, so in these last couple paragraphs, the one that starts right here about the music box, Esperanza at first thinks it's a music box. Maybe you've seen them. You open the lid and like a little ballerina pops up. It's like on a spring, pops up, and it spins while the music plays. But this one is just like an old wooden box, and it starts making these sounds, and she kind of tries to describe it. It's like letting go of a million moths, drops of water, marimbas, sounds like if you're running your fingers over a comb, like this, like that kind of sound. But then all of a sudden, Esperanza, she says, "I don't know why, but I have to turn around and pretend I don't care about the box." So she wants to pretend like, oh, that's dumb, because she doesn't want her sister to see how interested she is in it. But then she says Nenny is stupider than her and asks how much it is because she wants to buy it. But then the old man said it isn't for sale in his store. So interesting. Okay, so a couple things that we're going to be doing with this vignette. The first task, it starts describing it here on this page. Okay, page 126. It says, "Look at the third, fourth, and final paragraphs in the following excerpt." So it gives it to us over here. You don't have to flip back to the vignette. Working with a partner, and cross that out because we're doing it on our own. Or, I mean, I'm going through it with you, but we don't have partners. First, underline all the dialogue when someone is speaking. Okay, so one thing we are underlining is the dialogue. And then in a different color, we're underlining all of the actions of the characters. For example, when someone gets up or moves. And this is an important hint, okay, important. Make sure you don't include any non-physical actions or actions in similes. So remember, similes are comparisons with like or as, but we don't want to include any non-physical actions. So that would be like thinking about something. That's an action, but it's not physical. So it has to be a physical action that we're underlining. So moving, eating, stuff like that, okay? So I'm gonna get my two colors. I think I'm gonna do all my dialogue with my purple pen, and it's right here. It's only this one page, okay? So we don't have to flip back. We're gonna find all the dialogue here first, okay? All right, so I'm gonna read through it one more time, and I'm gonna pause every time I see dialogue and underline. If you wanna pause this video right now though, and try to find it all on your own, and underline it first, definitely go for it, okay? But Nenny, I hear her asking one time, "How's this here?" Okay, so she asked, "How's this here?" And I think she means like, what is this over here? But that's how she said it. And the man says, this is a music box." And I turn around quick, thinking he means a pretty box with flowers painted on it, with a ballerina inside. Only there's nothing like that where this old man is pointing. Just a wood box that's old and got big brass record in it with holes. Then he starts it up and all sorts of things start happening. It's like all of a sudden he let go a million moths all over the dusty furniture and swan neck shadows and in our bones. It's like drops of water, or like marimbas, only with a funny little plucked sound to it, like if you were running your fingers across the teeth of a comb, metal comb. And then, I don't know why, but I have to turn around and pretend I don't care about the box, so Nenny won't see how stupid I am. But Nenny, who is stupider, already is asking how much. How much is what Nenny asked, and I can see her fingers going for the quarters in her pants pocket. This, the old man says, shutting the lid, this ain't for sale. Okay, so that's all the dialogue. There's not too much of it. I'm gonna put that color aside and get out my red pen. And now we're underlining all the actions. So all the physical actions, all the movement and things that they're doing, okay? So things like asking, that's not physical, like we're talking about moving and stuff, okay? Okay, but Nenny, I hear her asking one time, how's this here? The man says, this is a music box. I turn around quick. Okay, turn around quick, that's a movement. Thinking he means a pretty box with flowers painted on it, with a ballerina inside. Only there's nothing like that where this old man is pointing. Pointing is a physical action. Just a wooden box that's old and got big brass record in it with holes. Then he starts it up. Okay, starts it up. So I don't know how he starts it up. Maybe it's something like you twist, like a knob on the side, or maybe it's like a push button to start thing. I don't know. But starting it up is an action. All sorts of things start happening. It's like all of a sudden he let go a million moths all over the dusty furniture and swan-neck shadows and in our bones. It's like drops of water, or like marimbas, only with a funny little plucked sound to it, like if you were running your fingers across the teeth of a comb. Metal comb. I keep forgetting the metal part. Okay, this is an action, running your fingers across the teeth of a metal comb, like that, okay? But it tells me in the hint, don't underline actions in similes. That's a simile. Oops. Okay, like if you were running your fingers. So since it says like, it's comparing the sound that she's hearing to like if you were doing this. So I'm not underlining that part because it's part of a simile. Tricky. Okay, continuing. And then I don't know why, but I have to turn around. Turning around is an action. And pretend I don't care about the box so Nenny won't see how stupid I am. But Nenny, who is stupider, already is asking how much, and I can see her fingers going for the quarters in her pants pockets. Just gonna underline the whole thing. So that means she's like reaching into her pocket to grab quarters to pay for it. This, the old man says, shutting the lid, that's an action. This ain't for sale. Okay, so quite a bit more action in that one than dialogue. And that's all we're doing with that part. So just trying to find the dialogue and the actions in this little vignette. And then the next page is a bit trickier. Okay, so the next page has a chart after some questions. So move my stuff over a little. Go like that. Okay, there we go. Number 2. There are 3 similes in the passage on the previous page. Can you write them all down? Okay, so it means not the whole vignette, just in this section they give us right here on page 127. There are 3 similes. So that's a comparison statement using like or as. Okay, and I kind of told you what one was already. But it's going to be really hard to fit them all right here. All right there. And it's going to be hard to fit some of them in these boxes because next we have to put the simile in this box and then describe how that relates to the music she's hearing. Okay, what does the simile mean, basically? So I might just skip this part, writing it here, because we're going to have to write it right here anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to, it's going to be right there. Why write them twice, right? Unless, I mean, you want to. If you want to, go for it, but it's going to be really difficult to fit them because they're long, okay? So, they are all in this paragraph. I mean, I guess it's pretty large, but so he's talking about the music box, and when she starts hearing it, that's when she starts describing the similes, okay? So I'm going to use my highlighter to highlight the similes for you. Then he starts it up and all sorts of things start happening. It's like all of a sudden he let go a million moths all over the dusty furniture and swan neck shadows and in our bones. Okay, that's the first one. See, it's long. So he let go, it's like he let go a million moths. Don't know what that would be like. Sounds kind of scary, but I don't know. Okay, the next one is short. It's like drops of water. So, you know, in our assemblies, when we do the thing with Miss King with like the, you know, the rain, the snapping, and the sounds you guys make, and the jumping and thunder. Okay, so it's like drops of water. That's what that reminded me of. Or like marimbas, only with a funny little plucked sound to it, like if you were running your fingers across the teeth of a metal comb. Okay, so that's all three of them. It's a lot, okay? The second one is the short one, like drops of water, but the rest of them are very long. So it's gonna be a challenge. I have a lot of writing to do, so I'm gonna angle this a bit so I can write comfortably, but so it's not crooked for you. Okay, so, and I've got it on another page right here, so I'm just gonna copy it, and you can copy it from the video a second ago when I had it highlighted, or as I write it. But write small. It's like all of a sudden he let go a million moths. All over the dusty furniture and, I'm not doing the word and, I don't have space, and swan neck shadows and in our bones. Okay. That's the first one. I fit it. Yay! Hopefully you did too. Don't go down, well, I mean, I guess you can go down a little bit into this one because the next one is like only 5 words, but try to fit it all in there. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, so I'm gonna pause there. I'm not gonna write all 3 similes first. I just wanna talk about this one that we just wrote down. How does that relate to music? What does that mean? What does it mean that the music she's hearing is like a million moths all over the dusty furniture, swan neck shadows, and in our bones? So how could millions of moths be everywhere? What does that sound like? Okay, so you can infer however you want, make whatever inference you want. How do you think that sounds? What does that mean as far as music? Okay, how would the little music box sound like that? Okay, I think it means the music sounds like it's everywhere. So maybe it's really loud, or, you know, like a million moths. Like that's, you know, I'm not trying to be in a room with a million moths, but that would be everywhere, right? I also think it means like there's a lot of different notes, okay? So it's not like the same note played over and over and over and over. It's like a lot of notes are happening, okay? Maybe there are many notes. Okay. So the second simile is the short one. It's like drops of water. Okay, and how does drops of water mean something like music? How could that describe music that's coming out of the music box? So whatever inference you want to make, you can describe it however you want. But I think it probably means something like the sound of, you know, rain as it falls. Okay. Maybe it's describing the sound of rain falling. Okay. And the last one is also another long one. Okay, tiny writing. Or like marimbas, only with a funny little plucked sound to it, like if you were running your finger across the teeth of a metal comb. No. Close enough. Okay, do you see why that would not have fit on those 3 lines right there? That's, I don't know why they did that. How could you have fit this, this, and that all right here on those lines? Not long enough. And I mean, that's a lot of writing, so don't write it twice if you don't have to. They're right here. Okay. And then how does that relate to music? Okay. I think that's just describing. Oh, I have to sneeze. Ew, bless me. Excuse me. Okay. I think this is just like very closely describing what the sound of the music box is making. Okay. And you can describe that however you'd like. Closely describing exactly what the music box sounds like. Okay, because she says it sounds like if you were running your finger across a metal comb. If you guys have a comb at home, it's kind of fun to do. Like you can do it on the side of your workbook like this, but it's just like when you do it with a comb, it's very like pleasant sounding. Okay, so lots going on that page. Pause it here if you need to. Finish that up, and then there's just one more thing. On this page, there is a new writing task. So it's just this right here. If you want to continue it, if you need more space than this, if you're liking that activity, which I will describe in a second, remember there's all this creative space, all these blank pages in the back. Okay, so you can continue it if you want, if you need more space than this. But we're gonna need to use our creativity and imagination again. So, the writing, it says, Esperanza has talked about the real her, the one no one else sees. But what about the real Gil? So Gil is the guy wearing the little glasses, the black man who doesn't talk much. He wears a pair of gold glasses, and he just kind of like stands in the back, and he doesn't talk much. Esperanza has never talked to him except for once to buy the Statue of Liberty. And then he doesn't sell, he winds up and shows them like the music box, but then he doesn't sell it. He said, this ain't for sale. So he doesn't want to sell the music box. Okay, so that's Gil. Anyway, sorry, his name is Gil. Think about how the events with the music box might have seemed through Gil's eyes. Because we saw that whole vignette, we read that vignette through Esperanza's eyes. We saw it from her point of view. So put yourself in Gil's shoes. Okay, we are going to write a description of the events from the excerpt. So we're gonna rewrite the excerpt basically, but with Gil as the first person. So it's gonna be like, I saw these two girls come in the store, and the I is Gil, not Esperanza. Okay, she's not the narrator when you're writing. Gil is gonna be the narrator. You're writing as him. Use the actions in the dialogue you underlined in the previous activity and make sure that exactly the same actions and dialogue occur now. But instead of knowing how Esperanza thinks, tell us what Gil thinks. Okay, so back here, just back one page, on 127, we started by underlining when Nenny asked, how's this here? And then Gil said, the man says, this is a music box. So I'm gonna start there, and I'm gonna say, and you can copy what I'm starting with, but then you'll have to continue. I heard this little girl rudely ask, because Nenny kind of sounds rude to me. How did she say it? She said, how's this here? Remember, I think she meant, what is this? But she said it weirdly. I heard this little girl rudely ask, how's this here? I answered, and what did Gil say? Because remember, Gil is I in this case. I answered, this is a music box. And I'm punctuating my dialogue correctly. There's my tag, comma, quotation marks. This, comma, this is a music box. Period, quotation marks. Okay, now I'm going to continue the rest of the events. I'm not making up anything. I'm not adding any, actions. I'm not going to say like, oh yeah, I turned the music box and then I started dancing to the music. Like that didn't happen in the story. So we're not adding anything like that, but we can add thoughts that he has because we want to know what Gil thinks about these little girls. Kind of like this little detail I added when I said that Nenny rudely asked, because maybe Gil thinks these little girls are rude. So you can add in your own, ideas about how Gil might see the girls. But we're just writing it from his point of view instead of Esperanza's. So then maybe I turned I don't know how the music box works. It didn't really describe that. I turned the handle. Oops, I turned the handle to start the music, period. Okay, and then what after that? So you can look back, kind of look at the actions, and finish with the dialogue down here when he says this ain't for sale. So that should be the end. But what does he think about the girls? Maybe he thinks Esperanza looks like she's trying to fake disinterest or uninterest about, she's not interested in the music box, but maybe Gil notices that she looks really interested at first. Okay, so I started it for you. If you want to use my starter, you can, or you can make up your own kind of wording, but we want to keep the dialogue the same. So anything that I underlined purple, we still have to keep that in. So Nenny and Gil have to be talking here, and then Nenny asks how much, and Gil tells her this ain't for sale. Okay, so that's how you want to end it. All right, that's it for all of lesson 9. Fairly short, just under half an hour. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys.